right. Adeayo, what's up now?
I'm good, my brother. I was happy.
It's been a minute.
Yes, sir. Welcome back.
So, Afrobeats to the world.
Yes, that's what's up.
Yeah, Teams and our manager were in the news on
Another
X
another
recently.
drama.
Drama here and there.
How good do now?
All right, so let's talk about Afrobeats to the world. Do you think Nigerian music consumers are hard to please?
That's one conversation that has been going on for a while now, and I want to say I'm kind of tired of this narrative that try to paint Nigerian consumers as like difficult, volatile, annoying. I don't think there's anything peculiar to Nigerian consumers that is like, okay, this is just peculiar to the Nigerian consumers alone. It is what it is all around the world, all around the mainstream pop music in the world. The only reason why it is now very pronounced is because there's internet to amplify it. The way consumers feel, they can easily hear it out. There's that there's that access now. Before it's not easy for you to know how people are fucking with your song, how, if people like your song or not, because there's no access to the consumer. Right now, if you don't like a song, you just go on Twitter, just post it, and there's a good chance the artist might see your comment, right? So that has now like made it look like, oh, Nigerian artists are difficult, Nigerian consumers are difficult, and Nigerian consumers are like they're hard to please, especially because of the criticism, right? Nigerian consumers, they tend to criticize a lot when maybe they don't agree with something. Like, and it's not peculiar to Nigerians. In terms of criticism, right, which is one of the things they like to say about Nigerians a lot, that Nigerians sometimes overly criticize, right? We tend to take it too far, and I'm speaking like generally. A lot of consumers, observers, they tend to take it too far, and it becomes more of trolling at some point. It like they sidestep the music and just talk about other things. It's still not peculiar to Nigerians. It's not something that you can now tag Nigerians to be awful, terrible, difficult to please, and you start condescending to them and talking down on them because of that, right? So there's the narrative that Nigerians are hard to please, and it's even more painful when it comes from people that should know better, people that have been in the ecosystem for a while, start saying things like, oh, I mean, we like to tear down our own. And it's not true. I mean, it's not true. I mean, they criticize you and at the same time they praise you. We just tend to focus on when it is criticism and when it is like kind of hatred, quote unquote hatred, because that's what's popular. I mean, negative news and bad news tend to travel more than positive news, right? So there's nothing peculiar to Nigerian consumers that will warrant us saying Nigerian consumers are hard to please. And the thing is, it's with the biggest stars, they get the most criticism, right? You get the most stick. That's one of the price to pay for fame. Like, for example, I'm under no illusion that the job I do don't make some people not to like me. Like, and that's facts. Like, the other day I was at Ira's listening party. Shout out to the biggest gangster in Nigerian music game right now. Yeah, so I was at a listening party, and I think I posted on Twitter that the album is crazy. And someone said, "Oh, how did he hear the album?" Was like, now so he's probably at the listening party, or they sent him a private link. I said, "Why would he get to hear the album before it dropped? Is he just not a common post worker?" That's what he called me. I actually find it hilarious. I don't think it's hatred, I just thought it was funny, and I'm not even a popular person. I'm not famous. The only reason he knows me is because I probably said something about he's a fan of a particular artist, and I've said something that he doesn't like, and for that he said a couple of mean things towards me. So the more popular you are, the more stick you get. Drake is one of the most criticized artists in the world, and is one of the biggest artists in the world as well. It's the price to pay for fame. If you cannot take it, I think you're in the wrong line of job. I think you're in the wrong profession. If you cannot stomach criticism, no matter how like heavy, like outdone it is, no matter how intense it is just part of the job. I mean, we see footballers what they go through, right? We see what even politicians go through. The US is one of the most scrutinized nations in the world because it is their position in the world. So it is when you are popular, when you're big, when you're famous, you get to attract more attention. And so it is what it is. And I don't think for that reason, the fact that a group of people criticize you for a reason, then you should now target it and now try to like paint the entire country as negative, as terrible, as hard to please. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair. And that is a narrative that we actually have to change, because that is one thing a group of Nigerian artists tend to push now. They just, when they feel that the song is not connecting, The song is not resonating, and people are saying, okay, we don't like the song, we are not feeling the song. They just be like, oh, Nigerians are difficult. We're not making music for you anyway. We don't make music for you. You're not refined enough. You're not sophisticated enough to enjoy the music we're making. I think it's bullshit. I think it's bullshit, and we have to like call them out on their bullshit. Yeah, that's what's up.
All right. So Nigerian music is enjoying some international success right now. Do you think the international success of Nigerian music affects the appreciation of Nigerian consumers?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that's one of the banes of Afrobeats to the world. I mean, what we call Afrobeats to the world now, as in terms of the proper penetration of international market, I think it started in 2020 with Love Wanting, Essence, Love Wanting, when that's when we actually broke the door properly, and we can now leave Nigeria and travel en masse and take our music internationally. Right, so and with that came a lot of opportunities, from the monetary part to the access to the stardom, to the fan base. You get to make a lot of money globally than you make in Nigeria for obvious reasons, right? And with that, that kind of like led to the deprioritization of Nigerian audience. Like Nigerian audience were deprioritized. Like you don't get to see your artists perform, they don't get to rate you, they don't even engage you, stuff like that. They don't speak to the media. And it's because of the international gaze, because of the attention they're getting internationally. And this comes more from people who tend to get their breakthrough internationally, like not from Nigeria, and they just felt like Nigerian audience are kind of inconsequential to their success. And I mean, and it's not everybody. Shout out to CK at the height of his power. He still chose to host his listening party in Nigeria. Sad Romance was held in Nigeria. And he didn't have to do that. Like a lot of people wouldn't have done that. I mean, since 2020 to date, how many big artists have actually held listening parties in Nigeria and attended? And attended, not the one in proxy. I can tell you for a fact that actually big artists like A-listers that have held listening parties in Nigeria and attended, maybe one. I'm, I'm sure it's maybe one. Then there maybe there are private listening parties that are like really super classified, and it's just some insiders come to listen and stuff. But the ones that you invite the media and you invite influencers and you host what we know as listening parties and you attended and the star was there, maybe one. And if I can recall, maybe Ira. And Thames recently, of course, too. She shared one recently. So it's not like they don't they don't do listening parties here. They drop the album from there, they live there, they perform there, they make money there. So it's become a situation where they now feel like, okay, I mean, what is you guys' value to us anyway? So when you now complain about the music, feel like, I don't like the music, they be like, okay, so and what? And what do you bring to the table? We don't make a lot of money here. We don't live here, we don't vibe here and stuff like that. We just come to party here where we make money there. So it's kind of lead to the deprioritization of Nigerian consumers, and it's all thanks to Afrobeats to the world because of international gaze. I mean, look at the Grammys, right? It started with wanting to get a nomination. Afrobeats should just get a picking. Should just get like a nod, like let's get a nomination. It's good for the culture, it's good for the movement. Then from there we went to let's win it for the culture, let's win it for the movement. Then we won it. Then that suddenly that wasn't enough anymore. It became let's break out of the global categories. We want to get into the main categories, the other categories outside of the global categories. We want to get in the pop categories, the R&B categories, the hip hop categories. And what do they do in return? They start trying to disassociate with Afrobeat, try to like remove that Nigerian tag and say, oh, I'm not an Afrobeat artist. I'm not an Afrobeat artist, because they feel that's the way for them to be recognized internationally. So it's just because of international. If Afrobeat to the world is not happening, we won't be having this conversation. We wouldn't have artists insulting Nigeria as part of their rollout strategy. I'm telling you, don't listen to my album. Don't, if you like Afrobeat, don't listen to my album. Don't talk about my album. Don't post my album. Stuff like that. It's because you are pandering to a particular international audience. That's why. That's the only reason. This wasn't a thing before 2020. It wasn't a thing. Because if you're going to do this for 2020, who is going to listen to your album anyway? It's still going to be Nigerians. And so what's the point? What are you doing? So I think it's one of the prices to pay. And we're paying that price because of I don't want to use words like maybe we don't see the bigger picture or stuff like that. But I think it's part of cultural commitment, right? And that's why we treat Nigerian audience the way we do. That's why artists they come to Nigeria and you start punching people, leaving them outside for hours in their shows after you pay good money to see them. It's because they just don't respect the Nigerian audience because they feel Nigerian audience doesn't have any value. And that's the case. So yeah, Afrobeats to the world has led to the deprioritization of the Nigerian audience. And it's just sad to see, but it is the reality. And the way they interact with you, it shows. It's like an artist hosted, like it was at an event and he performed songs from an album he just dropped. Like the album dropped like a week or 4 days before that. And he came and performed songs that were not popular. And predictably, people didn't vibe to it. And the next thing, the artist is on Twitter talking about like how Nigerians don't appreciate them. I performed this song in South Africa and they were vibing to it. I know I'm not mad. Like, bro, like you won't be here if Nigerians do not patronize your music. The only reason you are here is because Nigerians actually patronize your music. And now we have you. Now you're here. You're just jabbing at Nigerians because that's the cool thing to do now because you're getting international attention. So yeah, shout out to Afrobeats to the world, but that's the price we have to pay. Okay, so in all of this, right, this conversation about deprioritizing Nigerian audience, there's an economic factor to it. Like it's the fact that we have a poor economy, Nigerians cannot afford to spend the way other like those in America, UK spend. You know, we have a struggling country, struggling economy, and there's not a lot of disposable income. It also contributes to this, right? There's an economic factor to it. They don't make a lot of money here. So when I think that kind of like motivates them and inspire their action and feel like, okay, what's the scale of preference? How do I'm going to respect my paying audience more than I respect the one who are not paying. So I think in all of this, I think one of the saddest part of Afrobeats to the world, which shouldn't be sad if we saw the bigger picture, is the fact that Nigerian audience is not respected. Like the Nigerian ecosystem is not respected. The Nigerian structure is not respected. Our award shows are not respected. The listeners are not respected. The media is not respected. You know, they don't care about what is happening locally beyond just coming here, possibly drawing inspiration for the music, chilling and going to the club, singing about the Nigerian reality and going to use it to cash out there, right? So, and that's just the reality. It's not great. It's sad. It's sad to see, and that's why, I mean, that's why Tempsy's manager will say something like, "Oh, wow," will say something like, "We're not here to entertain you, right? We're not here to entertain you. You just happen to be entertained. You're going to sit and watch." And he now made some sanctimonial, like he now went now try play some sanctimony. Now, I mean, come on, man. The only reason you would say that is because you think that Nigerians don't really matter in the grand scheme of things, right? And I get it. Thames didn't blow up from Nigeria. She blew up courtesy of the madness she did on Essence. And Essence blew up internationally before it spilled over into Nigeria, right? And for that reason, her success came from an international audience. Our Billboard charting records, our shows, everything has been focused internationally. She's more of a global star than she is more of a local star. And that's facts, and that's fine. Right? Nigerians, to the extent to which they can support her, have supported her. She is a star now, and she's a global star now, and that is going to affect the way people see her at home. That's why the reason why people are talking about her. And that's the reason why Jimmy Fallon performance will be in the news and it will go viral and people will air their opinions on it because she's a star, she's a global star, and global stars, they attract conversation, you know, they attract comment, they attract criticism. So it's not like I don't think it's right to paint the collective like culture, the collective consumers, Nigeria as a whole, as bad, you know, as difficult because a group of people choose to air their opinion or something. Wizkid, Davido, Burna Boy, those are three most criticized artists in Nigeria. Tiwa Savage, Ira Star, heavily criticized, heavily scrutinized. They talk about how she dressed, how she looks, because she's a star. That's the price you have to pay for stardom. It is what it is. Rema, God bless him. They talk about the guy being an Illuminati. It makes no fucking sense. But it is what it is, right? So I don't think, like, I get that sometimes it becomes excessive and it kind of like make like it want to make you react, but you have to react in a way that you don't get to insult the whole just because you want to tackle a small fraction of people. And that's my issue with this whole like when artists tend to like address criticism, right? They don't tend to address it from where it is coming from. They tend to address it as a Nigerian situation, as a Nigerian problem, and it just insults everyone. And it's because you guys don't prioritize us. See, during this old Drake vs Kendrick issue, right? A lot of things have been said about Drake, especially in the context of him making hip-hop music that appeals to American, and his success mainly comes from the US, right? A lot of things have been said. They've said he's not. They've said he's not. Doesn't understand the American culture. He's not black enough. This and that, right? In all of this, he's still not. He has still not like said, "Oh, fuck the Americans. Fuck you guys. I hate you guys." Stuff like it's not. Maybe because Americans have economic power. If you say that, that's career suicide and stuff like that, right? And that's what's happening here, because we don't have economic power, and they know, okay, if I say fuck Nigerians, it's not going to stop me from doing shows and going on tour in the UK and the US and in Europe. So they say these things. They say these things nevertheless, and it's not fair. It's not fair. And you don't say things like if the music is not for you, zone out. It's fair. It's fine. Yeah, the music will not be for everybody. But when the music is in everybody's face, they are going to talk about it. And you cannot get in your feelings because you are talking about it. Like, the more popular you are, the more scrutiny you get. I mean, you drop a single and it is getting the biggest spin ever, possibly ever, that people have seen on Spotify. Play anything and it comes on next, right? Although maybe the music is not for everybody, but the music is being listened to by everybody. The music is in everybody's face, is in people's faces, and they're going to react. They're going to hear their opinion, either they like it or not. People who like it will say they like it. People who don't like it will say they don't like it. If you look at I was reading the quotes and some of the comments on our performance at Jimmy Fallon, and I will admit there are some of them that they're just maniacal. They didn't make any sense, right? They're just like downright stupid. And there's some that are just like really honest feedback. Like, these are just middle class Nigerian listeners, consumers, or just Nigerian consumers who are not trolls. They're just like consumers that want to give their feedback. Just honest. I just think it's just like feedback, right? Maybe honest, maybe dishonest, but I don't think there's maybe like any malice behind it, right? And it's just that's just what it is. When Omale went to NPR, his performance was like, it was slated for his performance. Same thing, Naira Marley. It's not new. It's not new. So you cannot say things like you just happen to be entertained. We're not here to entertain you. It insults everyone. It insults the ecosystem. Sorry, but that's what it is. And the reason you say that is because your state of mind, it comes across that your state of mind is that you do not think that these people, this group of people, this demographic, they are relevant enough to be having opinions. That's what it is. Like, you feel like, oh, you have not actually contributed to our success, so why you have an opinion on what she's doing? And that's just, I don't know, that's just wrong. That's just wrong. You're an entertainer. People will comment. You're famous. People will comment. So you have to understand how to handle it. I'm not saying like don't react. I'm not saying like don't push back, but don't insult everybody. Don't insult everybody in the process. So I just don't understand it. I just don't understand it, and it doesn't look like it's going to change. And it looks like a cross we have to carry, because our music has scaled globally, and we are now like, I don't know, we're not like the wrong. We're now like the lowest, but like the bottom of the ladder in terms of prioritizing an audience. And that's what it is. Yeah.
So, given this deprioritization, should Nigerian artists prioritize Nigerian consumers?
No. If you don't want to, don't do it. That's the thing for me. Like, if you don't want to prioritize Nigerian consumers, don't do it. There are people who don't make money from here, and they are not like, maybe they're even famous. They are just people like, they are digital artists whose streaming numbers come from internationally the most. Like, if you are that kind of artist, I'm not going to ask you to go out of your way to pander to Nigerians or make music that will appeal to Nigerians. But don't insult Nigerians. That's just don't insult Nigerians. If you don't want to make Afrobeat music, if you don't want to make music for Nigerians, it's fine. But leave them alone and move on. I think insulting Nigerians is just the easiest way to get attention. It's just bloody gimmicks. Let your music do the talking. That's it. So, do you have to prioritize Nigerians? No. But you don't have to insult Nigerians either. That's just the way I see it, right? I think in all of this, right, I begin to ask myself, right, if you are a music fan and like you're a conscious music fan that follow the music, you follow the conversation, you tend to wonder sometimes, like, okay, where do I fall in all of this? Like, what is my value to this artist as a Nigerian consumer? Like, they don't seem to respect me. They don't even come to shows early. That's even they agree to do a show. They don't show up early. They talk down on me at every chance they get. So what value do I offer? Same thing with like maybe a content creator. Okay, possibly when they choose to promote a music in Nigeria, which they have to do, they pay you to do this stuff, but you're making money off it, but like there's no respect that comes with it. You look at it from the media perspective, like, okay, what's our role in Afrobeats to the world? Where does it leave us? I think that's something we actually have to think about. Like, amidst the international success and the global exploitation of Nigerian music, what does it position the Nigerian people, the Nigerian ecosystem, from consumers to the media to creators, right? Where does it position us? I mean, before you can get a text back from a Nigerian B-list artist, this he possibly has done like 7 podcasts in America, even those that people don't really know about, because you've been deprioritized, you've been deranked, right? So you begin to wonder, do I still matter? Do I actually matter? Well, I think you do. Yeah, you absolutely fucking matter, because all this won't be possible without Nigerian audience. All of this won't be possible without Nigerian audience. None of it will be possible without Nigerian consumers being dedicated to the music, streaming it, even though it doesn't like amount to a lot of numbers, because there's not a lot of streaming numbers, be vocal in their support, being able to use our soft power and promote the music. And shout out to our diaspora community, right? And like the fact that they show support. People are living here daily, mass migration, and you're going here and you're taking the culture with them, they're taking the music with them. I think we've had this conversation a lot of times about the value of Nigerians to the ecosystem, especially both in and out of Nigeria, right? You cannot remove the success of Afrobeat from the Nigerian people, especially those in Nigeria, because it is what is happening here that will always like translate into what is going to be successful there. There's hardly any artist that is big there that isn't big here. There's just few anomalies, CK, terms. Right? It's not the norm. You are an exception to the norm. So the Nigerian market still play a part, they still play a role. So enough with the condescension, enough with the insult. It's tiring. Stop telling people we're not here to entertain you. You just happen to be entertained. No, cut it out. If you have something to say to people who are criticizing, say it to them. Say, this performance is this, you guys don't appreciate it because it's that. Speak to the performance. Don't come and just like use umbrella terms and insult the whole country because you feel they don't matter. Don't condescend to people. And if you can condescend, then you should be able to stomach criticism. I'm sorry. If you have if you know how to give it, you should be able to take it. That's why I don't like when you are fragile, when you have a lot to say about other people, you have a lot to say about Nigeria, you have a lot to say about the ecosystem, and Nigerians don't like you, and Nigerians are difficult people, and when they talk, you now start like you being your feelings and whatnot. Right? So it's just like you don't have to prioritize them. Nobody will force you. Right? If you actually choose to say, okay, fuck you guys, I'll focus there, it's fine. I mean, it's not nice, you don't have to. It's not nice that you forget your home front when you're going there, because at some point you have to circle back. You always have to circle back because this is where the music is flowing from. But if you want to do that, it's fine. It's fine, but don't just insult Nigerians in the process, right? So, again, this calls for conversations about the role of Nigerian ecosystem in Afrobeats to the world. To be honest, what role do we play? What benefits do we derive? I get that the artists, the ecosystem has enjoyed a lot of benefit. The artists have made more money than they have ever made before in Nigerian music, right? There are more opportunities that there have ever been before in Nigerian music. We just see Universal just acquire Mavens, right? Incredible things are happening. We're winning international awards, right? But how does it translate locally? How does it make you more valuable as a fan? How does it make you more valuable as a media platform amplifying this music? How does it make you more valuable as a creator, supporting these people? when they don't value you, when they seem like they don't see you as someone worth speaking to with respect. So I think it's something we have to actually consider, and people have to start like reacting to it, and not trying to explain it away, and not trying to like tie everybody with the same brush, and try to paint Nigerian audience as difficult, hard to please, annoying, terrible, because it's not. There's nothing that you want to accuse the Nigerian audience for that is not that you would not find in other markets. Is this township? You're not as vicious as the Beehive. You're not as vicious as Nikki stands. You're not. And so it's not like it's not a Nigerian problem. It's just a music phenomenon. It's the reality. It's the price to pay for advancement. And we are just in the early stage of globalization, right? So I think we need to call everyone to order. And the reason we need to do this is because we need to, redefine our mindset. At the end of the day, what this shows is a lack of cultural commitment. It's a lack of cultural commitment. Is the reason why, even if Nigerian music, and I want to say this, even if Nigerian music is at its biggest stage yet, even if Nigerian music is taking over the world, it doesn't look like it's affecting us locally in the way it should. It doesn't look like it's going to translate into better award shows for us. It doesn't look like it's going to create structure, platforms that will be able to sustain this growth locally. It doesn't look like it's going to create opportunities, support platforms, scale platforms that will be able to take this music from here and take it there when the Western gaze, quote unquote, like the Western gaze ends, right? It doesn't look like that because there's no cultural commitment. There's no cultural commitment. There's no mutual respect. You don't see Nigerians as anything. So, and it's just sad. So I think we all have to sit back. We have to look back and say, okay, Afrobeats the world and the Nigerian audience. What is the place of Nigeria in all of this? What is the place of Nigeria in all of this? And see where we are, where we want to be, and now we can get there. Instead of talking down on the Nigerian audience and telling them to sit down and watch. I think it's messed up. And we all need to do better. Yeah, shout out to everybody. Shout out to everybody. So yeah, that's it. It's that simple. It's that simple. Do you have to prioritize Nigerians? No. But you have to insult Nigerians? No. You have to support the ecosystem. If you want to, it would be nice if you do. But you have to talk down on the ecosystem. You have to weaken the ecosystem by using your superpower profile to say things that would demean the ecosystem because you think that is what is cool to scale internationally. No. Do you believe that Nigerians are inconsequential to your success? Maybe. Right? You have to throw it in their faces. No. If you don't want to make music for Nigerians, leave them alone. But if you make music and it is being played everywhere, and you open your Spotify, you open your Apple Music, and they keep recommending that music, they're going to talk. And when they talk, you might need to market. And that's facts only.